You can call me accidental CA. I would say, which most of us underestimate, is time. Time, from perspective, is the most valuable thing that we possess, and that's why managing time effectively, also prioritize the things. Second thing is taking risk, otherwise you lose a chance. I would say having empathy. This is for me a very important people skill. Work with the team most of our times. At least I would say in my lifetime, I don't expect we'll be replaced by robots. Tell my younger self, don't think about what others are telling. I think just do it. For me, my work office is a Wi-Fi with positive energy. So I try to get connected to that. So if that Wi-Fi is not working, then I also feel demotivated. So for selfish reasons, I try to also keep the office environment more, I would say, lively and jovial, even though I am not.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Pursuit of Finance Stories Beyond Numbers podcast. I'm Nidhi Jain and together we will take you through world of finance careers. We will learn from the stories and life experiences of leaders who have successfully navigated the financial landscape. Today we have a very special guest, CA Pulkit Goyal. He has more than 20 years of experience. He's the CFO of Honeywell Automation. He's a board member. He's an ET Awards winner and he has experience in multiple industries. We are so happy to have you on board with us, Pulkit. Welcome to our show.
Thank you so much, CA Nidhi, for having me over. It's a pleasure and looking forward to our conversation.
Thanks, Pulkit. So, Pulkit, tell us about real you. What's your story? Where did you grow up? What motivated you to take up finance as a career?
Sure. Thank you for that question. So, the real me is lively, fun loving, non fictional. So, as I said, the real me is actually real. So, you would rarely find me, kind of mocking myself or trying to be something different. I think I'm really non fictional. I'm conservative in my approach, at the same
Hmm.
time, also risk taking. I'm sensitive, just like many other human beings, and at the same time, I feel that I am humble. Now, about my uh, private life, personal life. So, I grew up in Jodhpur. Some people in the Western world compare Jodhpur as a blue city with Morocco or Greece. I think not really comparable, but still, I would say it's a beautiful blue city. I grew up there, did my schooling from that city, and also graduation.
Hmm.
I afterwards moved to Mumbai to pursue my CA in 2001. And
Hmm.
yeah, afterwards, here I am. I think you just explained my professional already briefly.
So आपने क्यों लिया फाइनेंस क्यों चूज किया और सीए इन पर्टिकुलर क्यों?
Hmm, I think response थोड़ा wacky या funny रहेगा. You can call me accidental CA. Uh, During my, I would say, 10th and 12th grade,
Hmm.
I was very good in science and maths. I think I scored, if I recall, somewhere around 90, upward of 90. And I
Hmm.
wanted to take science, but fortunately or unfortunately, there was none of my family members, my uncle, aunt,
Hmm.
also my bua, my parents, except of course my father. None of them were, I would say engineers, except my father. And
Hmm.
since I grew up in that influence, so I think the first choice was, of course, the finance. And again, from being a Marwari family, I think that became, I would say, a forced choice on me. So I say I don't regret, but sometimes I do feel probably if I were not a CA, I think I would have been somewhere else. Definitely not sitting here. Would have been completely different person. So yeah, I would call it really. It was a chance that I became a CA.
So moving on forward, Pulkit. So let's just say if you can take us through the various type of roles. So after CA, आपने 20 years almost you have experience. So what are the kind of roles did you choose? If you can take us through that.
Sure. So आफ्टर आई क्वालिफाइड, सो मेरा सीए कंप्लीट होने के बाद मैंने
Hmm.
कैंपस इंटरव्यू के थ्रू ईवाई अर्नस्ट एंड यंग मुंबई में ज्वाइन किया
Hmm.
था.
Hmm.
I spent around 2 years in Ernst and Young. Somehow I felt that I'm more fit or more, I would say, relevant for industrial or
Hmm.
brick and mortar
Hmm.
business. एंड उसके बाद फिर मैंने डिसीजन लिया इंडस्ट्रियल कंपनीज ज्वाइन करने का. एंड विद दैट आई काइंड ऑफ मूव टू माय फर्स्ट इंडस्ट्रियल employer,
Hmm.
that ArcelorMittal acquired
Hmm.
company Petron Engineering Construction Limited. It was back then publicly traded on
Hmm.
both the stock exchanges.
Okay.
Uh, Afterwards, of course, I would say that was the beginning of my industrial career. I would say
Hmm.
it was a very different route that I took in, I would say mid 2000. उस समय
Hmm.
मेरे जो friends, colleagues, or some of the seniors, they were all kind of joining the famous BFSI sector,
Yeah.
and this was, of course, a different route. Everybody was kind of looking at me. Are you really insane, to go to, very
Hmm.
old, different industrial environment? But I would
Hmm.
say I don't repent. It was extremely tough, Nidhi. First, I would say 3 to 4 years were really tough, to kind of
Hmm.
set your foot on the ground. But I would say the kind of learning that I got in Petron actually, set a solid foundation for me. And with that, I made another move with ThyssenKrupp. Some people in India
Hmm.
call ThyssenKrupp. I joined
Okay.
them in 2013, and worked with them for around 9 years, different roles starting from finance controller, then CFO for EMEA region. Then I also ran one of the industrial companies
Hmm.
as a CFO for ThyssenKrupp in Pune. And yeah, finally here I am now with Honeywell. I didn't know, by the way, I'll happen to be in Pune. So yeah, I would say different varieties of role, but within
Hmm.
pure finance domain of increasing responsibilities. Right now, I'm kind of the CFO of a public company,
Hmm.
and so 3 years almost in this role. So very different experience within the finance domain.
But you have itself, you have done various type of industries that I find very impressive. Like ThyssenKrupp has different industries. Now Honeywell has a different set of businesses. So each of those are giving you flavor of this. So tell me about it, like how last 20 years and now you're CFO of a large company here. Have, what is the skills which you contribute, has are the more important skills for your success? Top three, if you want to share with us.
Sure. I think first thing I would say, which most of us, Nidhi,
Hmm.
underestimate, is time. Time,
Hmm.
from perspective, is the most valuable thing that we possess, and that's why managing time effectively, also
Hmm.
prioritizing your things, I think that will definitely, you know, be in my view very very important skill. And I can share from my life या professional journey से मैं मेरा experience share कर सकता हूँ. जब मैंने जब Petron join किया था, so
Hmm.
it was acquired by ArcelorMittal,
Hmm.
and there were kind of course, in any acquisition, there is a due diligence that's done, and then you have,
Hmm.
of course, a lot of strengths, and at the same time some development needs in the acquisition target, as well as you have a big mammoth task of integrating that new company
Yeah.
with the last. So what I realized that, of course, it was full of opportunities, for the company
Hmm.
to grow, as well as also for me to learn. And I realized that I could not have solved all the problems at once. And then I started kind of prioritizing things. I also asked myself, how much time do I have? I asked also my
Hmm.
management that what are the things that you would like to prioritize. So this actually gave me one of the important life lessons, that I think focus on the things that are most important and make the best use of your
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
Second thing is taking risk, otherwise you lose the chance. So In my life, I would say I've also made some choices which were risky, and as you all know, I'm sure Nidhi, you know it too. We always say more risk, more gain. Uh, at the same time, of course, it has to be a calculated risk. What worked for me
Hmm.
need not work for others. But I realized that I think taking that risk, and again, it reflects Nidhi in my career choice which I made,
Hmm.
and you commented on it nicely that leaving a cozy MNC job of EY and then joining a
Hmm.
completely unknown, uncharted. I won't say uncharted, but yeah, probably at that time this was a less taken path. So I would say
Hmm.
I have taken those risks. It's not that I've been successful in all of them, but most of the risks actually, kind of worked in my favor. Even if I failed, at least I learned from it. The same decision that I had made during my TK time or ThyssenKrupp's time when I
Hmm.
was kind of given a job opportunity to relocate
Hmm.
to Turkey. And in 2016, Turkey was really going through turbulent times. But at the same time, I felt that it was the right step for me and add an
Hmm.
international experience in my life. Third and the last thing, I would say having empathy. This is for me a very important people skill. Nidhi, in the end,
Hmm.
we work with the team most of our times. At least I would say in my lifetime, I don't expect we'll be replaced by robots. And so long as we
Yeah.
have human lives around, I think we need to
Hmm.
have empathy. We need to also be aware of how do we behave, how do we
Hmm.
have a right culture where people can thrive, and also I think help them meet their aspirations. I think that's these are the three qualities. So once again, managing time, taking risk, and third is having empathy as an important people skill.
Yeah, very nicely shared. Now I give you a fun question in that, like, ऐसी कोई सुपर पावर what will further enhance your performance, what will you wish for?
In my role, हमेशा CFO की लाइफ में एक क्वेश्चन तो आता है कि कल क्या होगा.
हम्म, कल क्या होगा?
So, एक मूवी है. I mean, I don't watch these days movies a lot, I must say. So I
हम्म,
had watched, many years ago a movie called Sixth Sense, and उसमें एक
हम्म.
डायलॉग अगर आपको याद है, I see dead people. So,
No, I've not seen that movie.
so
I
Sixth
see dead
Sense,
people. Okay.
yeah, I mean, Sixth Sense was basically an ability whereby the
Hmm.
person or the character in the movie could know what will happen next. So
Hmm.
I wish I could have that and actually become not just a CFO but a super CFO, and I can tell, yeah, if you take that decision, your profit will go up or down, or if you make that acquisition, will it be successful or not? I think that's one thing I would wish to have.
Okay, great. So it's like, something like a crystal ball gazing. But I was speaking to someone, they said that what will happen if you will know that you're going to die tomorrow? You will also know that. Will you not get scared?
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about it. Maybe I will use it only, when I am in my CFO office, not outside.
Yeah. Moving on further and just reflect upon your career and ऐसा कोई life experience आपके साथ कुछ हुआ which change your perspective if you want to share with us.
Sure. So निधि में जैसा मैंने बोला कि मेरी फर्स्ट इंडस्ट्रियल जॉब थी with Petron Engineering
Hmm.
Construction Limited, and it was a public company back then. And इस 6 years टाइम पीरियड में मैंने बहुत कुछ सीखा, बहुत
Hmm.
मिस्टेक की, और एक मिस्टेक जो है मुझे अभी भी याद है. आई वॉज वेरी इम्पल्सिव. आई थिंक इट
Okay.
वॉज प्रोबेबली maybe 4 or 5 years into my professional career, and I remember
Hmm.
I was presenting one business case to the entire leadership team of Petron Engineering,
Hmm.
and I was probably not probably, I'm certain I was the youngest person in the room,
Hmm.
and I think the proposal that I was giving wasn't liked by one of the senior leaders, and
Hmm.
he made a comment. The people, you know, who kind of have 3 or 4 years of experience and qualified recently are now telling us or teaching us how things should be done. My
Hmm.
reaction was, now I laugh about it. I simply walked away from the meeting.
Oh.
And everybody was, I think it had at least, what, 20 folks sitting inside. And afterwards, of course, I got a call from the CEO, and he called me to his office. And he
Hmm.
said, well, I didn't like what you did. I said, but
Hmm.
he missed. This is not how he talks. He said, people will always have their opinion, and
Hmm.
we must respect and hear them out. And you should have the courage to accept that criticism or harsh comment and actually prove them wrong if you're right. But you cannot
Hmm.
walk out of the room.
Hmm.
Uh, I think I didn't still take that comment seriously. Let me be very honest with you. And afterwards, the statement that he made, that actually made me rethink on what he had said. And that statement was, by the way, before calling you, I'd spoken to that person already and already told him that's not the way you behave. So I would say that was one
Hmm.
moment which actually made me change professionally and also reflect as to how do I carry myself and behave in a professional environment.
Hmm. Actually, very fairly said. Especially when we are young in our career, ना, we will take it like so personally these comments. But अगर आप
Correct.
अपने आप को और situation से थोड़ा side हट के देखो, he may also have a point of view. He may be hurt by the decision. That I can imagine the presentation जो आप बना रहे होंगे, that would have a major implication on how things would be running, etc. For
Correct.
uh, so for them that is very important. So how you deal with those situations, I think that's very a good learning for all of us, all of our listeners, that if we are agitated, at least don't react. Just pause and see कि फिर क्या करना है. And जैसे पुलकित आपने बोला कि don't run away. I think don't run away is the key message. Otherwise it feels like कि हम better छोड़ के ही चले गए.
करेक्ट निधि इसके लिए जैसे मैंने भी बोला आपने जो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन मुझसे पूछा था कि डिस्क्राइब द रियल यू तो लास्ट पॉइंट जो मैंने बोला था दैट इम्पोर्टेंट पीपल स्किल इज एम्पैथी वी हैव टू हैव दैट एम्पैथी एंड दैट विल अलाउ यू टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट अदर्स आर टेलिंग.
Yeah, sure. So empathy, it's a very important point. Thanks, Pulkit, for sharing that. Now, it's a very good point you shared. Any other advice which you would like to share, which you received when you were younger, other than this?
Yeah, so I again a lot of life learnings from Petron. So when I joined Petron, I think within a week's time, I thought it's a wrong place. Then he told me something very important. I think I still remember, and that was break the problems into small pieces. Don't look them as a whole. And afterwards, of course, he disconnected, and I completed my 6 years before I quit and joined ThyssenKrupp. So that was a very important advice that I got, and I indeed took a fresh look at things. I kind of went back to drawing board and say how do I now deal with things, and in again prioritizing as I just mentioned, rather than just trying to solve everything. Sure.
If imagine I give you a chance to have a dinner with any finance personality, you have to choose the finance figure. Then who would you choose and what would you ask them?
I would choose. I don't know if you'll call him a finance personality or not, but since the gentleman is a chartered accountant, uh, I think he will pass the test of being a finance
Yeah.
personality. That is Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla.
Yeah, I'll call him finance personality. Yeah, one of the first chartered accountant, most famous of India, isn't it? Yeah.
Correct.
Ah.
So I think I would choose him, and thanks for clearing this choice. I like his calmness.
Hmm.
I also like his humble approach, and also the way he also took risk in his life. And I think when I say taking risk, I mean by how he transformed the traditional Aditya Birla Group business, which was consisting of many industrial companies, into the new age business consisting of a lot of financial service companies as well as telecom, retail, etc. So the way he managed two sides of the Aditya Birla Group, I think, is what I admire. I think I would ask him only one question, if I kind of happen to meet him or have a dinner with him, of course that would be a privilege, and I hope he's listening. And how do you stay so calm and composed? I think
You, and as much as I know you, you have won several awards, and you are a very regular speaker in many events, etc. That you have created your own brand outside the company. Normally, one of the challenge which people see, they are well known within their company, but when they step out, then people will not know them. So what is your secret? How you have created an external brand for yourself? कि आपको इतने कॉल्स आते हैं, स्पीकिंग अपॉर्चुनिटीज आती हैं, एक्सटर्नल रिकॉग्निशंस. So if you can share that for our benefit.
sure. So Nidhi, thank you for this question. It's quite, I would say, very interesting question. But let me tell you, I didn't do it to create a personal brand, or did it with a purpose. I think it just happened again accidentally. But I find a lot of value in what I'm doing. Uh, and so let me tell you how it kind of happened. So I was contacted, I would say, almost 3.5 years ago by the Economic Times, and they wanted me to join one of the fireside chats on compliance. And it was my first interaction, and I was quite nervous. I really prepared for a couple of days, and I don't know if it was. I think it's available online, so you can also check it. I'll share it with you.
Yeah.
And I, what I realized more than doing that fireside chat was that I think it needs a different power, energy, and courage to speak in front of a camera, as well as speaking in front of a large crowd. And for me, this was one of the development needs I personally felt I think I needed. And I really thank the Economic Times for giving me that opportunity. And of course, afterwards, by the way, I never reached out to anyone, but that opened the door for many such engagements.
So what? So thanks for being honest about it and sharing that. Like first time तो सबके लिए difficult होता है. But what would be your suggestion for someone who wants to do that? Like may not be that lucky like you कि उनको खुद से call आएगा. But if someone has to really start working towards it, because there's a lot of merit and people do have their voices, but it's about the right set of opportunity. So any suggestion you would want to give?
Sure, Nidhi. I think the format in which we are talking right now, I think I can only see you and you can see me, right? Nobody else in the room right now. And what do I mean by that is anybody and everybody with the use of technology can also have or create this kind of an environment or setup, and conduct this kind of an interview. Could be with your colleague, could be with your friend, or you could do it actually by yourself, record yourself. You can do it on your laptop or mobile phone, and I think then see how do you speak, how do you behave. I think that's, from my perspective, is the easiest thing to do. And these days, and maybe you will know better than me, there are many ways available through which you can upload your thoughts, through your personal blogs. You can also do posts on the LinkedIn. You can also write articles. So it need not be that somebody reaches out to you, but Nidhi, if you want to do something in that direction, you have to take the first step.
So Pulkit, अभी on if you were your 20 years old self, आप उसको क्या advice देते?
Yeah, that's a bit tough one. I would say I would actually tell my younger self, don't think about what others are telling. I think just do it. So yeah, I mean, in my younger days, I think I used to probably also pay a lot of importance to this. Of course, I'm a different self now. Life is a learning, as you know. So I would have probably told this, if I can go back in time, to myself.
Yeah, don't listen too much into what others are saying. I think it's a fair point, because otherwise then you are stuck sometimes. You cannot do what you really want to do. So go with your heart. That's a message I'm picking up. So I will now take you to some of the present moment, challenges. So for example, let's start with someone who is starting their career and with internships. I think one point which people, and especially they think, okay, is internship waste of time? Do we just focus on studying? Or is really internship is a good thing to do to get to onto a good career? So what would be your take on that, Pulkit?
From my perspective, and before I try to answer this question, tell me one thing, Nidhi, or the ones who are listening. Will you go and
Mm.
get yourself treated by a doctor who hasn't done his or her medical, internship or medical training before he or she gets qualified as a doctor? Will you do that?
No, never.
Right? Why do you go? Of course,
Mm.
maybe unless you have a cold and fever, you probably may not look for high experience,
Mm.
right? But if you really have, and God forbid, nobody should get it.
Mm.
If you really have, complicated situation, you would always look for, the highly experienced medical
Mm.
professionals. Sometimes you will even compare, right, which of the three
Mm.
or four are the best. Why are you doing it again? So you are giving importance to the experience and also
Mm.
practical knowledge. I think the
Absolutely.
same with CA internship too. There is a reason why Institute of Chartered Accountants of India has made 3 years of mandatory internship for all
Mm.
aspiring CAs.
Yeah, sure. And then thanks for drawing out that comparison with the doctor. I think that makes it very clear. And for listeners out there, like if you are in that stage of your career, opt for gaining experiences, gaining through internships. So that really helps. Moving on further, and with the job markets getting tough, Pulkit. So the one of the challenge which is there is about sometimes, so one is about CA versus MBA, etc. But in general, nowadays it's about how does one secure a job which has a higher salary? How do we one make it themselves get earning on that? So what would be your take as a CFO? You would have a lot of people under you. So what would be your advice? How can they attract more salaries?
Got it. Thanks. Very relevant question, Nidhi. Again, I think you asked the previous question on the internship. So
Hmm.
the first comment would be uh, that if you are aiming for a higher salary, though I would not say that should be one's goal. At you know, I would say at the beginning of the career. However, you know you should rather focus on building a solid foundation. And in my view, I think every beginning will be humble, but rather focus on the choice that you are making.
Hmm.
So one is what is your strength, do you really want to do. Some people really like the assurance or audit related work, some really like treasury related
Hmm.
topics, like more of a general management, uh, you know overall finance
Hmm.
controlling, finance leadership related topics. Some like investment banking, some like consulting. So I would say find what is your aspiration. What do you really
Yeah.
like? I know it's very difficult, but I think you will have to self reflect as to
Hmm.
which job gives you more satisfaction, and then kind of couple it with your strength. Like some people, for example, again I give my personal experience. Probably I was
Hmm.
not very much consulting person or sitting on the other side of the table, and that's why I made that
Hmm.
jump. Don't make changes in your professional career based on salary.
Yeah, thanks for sharing this particular point. I think this is super important for everyone out there. The salary is one of the factor. It's not the all points, but consider what's the overall package being offered. Now, it's a related question, like when someone specifically goes in mid career, etc. And how does one keep themselves updated on some of those important topics? Like I see you speaking a lot on ESG, finance transformation, on tech. So, and these are all evolving topics as we speak. So what is your way of keeping yourself updated?
One thing that I do is I think listening. to the people. And so on this topic, I also try to pick what's the latest trends on digitization, as you just spoken about, also on environments, social and governance. That's one thing that I do to be aware of the latest trends. The second, and I would say the most important thing that I try to do also, uh, invoke a conversation in my organization, in my team about these subjects, make people think, have some topical discussion on one of these things uh, in the real life setting. All these topics are also extremely relevant for us.
Yeah.
And third and the last thing that I do, of course, is you know, I think reflecting on these changes. That, from my perspective, is because only then you can bring your authentic perspective. So you hear others, you also experience it at workplace, and then you say, how do you, feel about this, and what needs to be done.
पुलकित, आपने अपनी लाइफ में बहुत चैलेंजेस आए होंगे, राइट? ऐसे तो हंकी डोरी लाइफ होती नहीं है। तो हाउ, आपका क्या स्ट्रेटजी है टू कीप योरसेल्फ मोटिवेटेड, काम एंड keep going? How do you keep going?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Uh, I think the one thing that I do, I know I'm not looking at you right now, but because I'm thinking, first thing that I try to do is self-reflect. And on motivation, yeah, I would say, I think celebrate the small wins, not just wait for the big wins. Try to create a more positive environment, also amongst the team members. And I would say, I think uh, I call it this way, that for me my work office is a Wi-Fi with positive energy. So I try to get connected to that. So if that Wi-Fi is not working, then I also feel demotivated. So for selfish reasons, I try to also keep the office environment more, I would say, lively and jovial, even though I am not. So I think kind of I get energy from that environment. I think these are the two ways I try to be resilient and motivated.
Acha, you are not jovial. I thought you are.
No, I am, but I'm saying to stay motivated. I think I'd like to spread that thing around also, not just at workplace but also at home.
Yeah, I really like your point on Wi-Fi. That connecting the word to a Wi-Fi. That's absolutely an amazing point. So, if you think about any particular book or a movie which really inspired you, what would be your pick?
So I am a visual person. I will go for a movie motivation or movie inspiration. And again, as I mentioned to you, I don't watch many movies these days, but yeah, a couple of them, or few of them, I'd watched during, I would say, my younger days. I think I've left, some impressions in my life, and one of that, I would say, maybe an unusual choice, Jab We Met. The first message is self-love, or being I think being lively. So that for me was the biggest takeaway, and I can watch that movie even now without getting bored. Probably I would have watched it.
That Kareena Kapoor character really showed that the loving oneself is such a nice thing. Yeah.
Correct. So that is important, and why again I would try to give a corporate color to it. Whenever anybody is hiring an employee, they always want to also get a fresh perspective, the fresh energy, the curiosity. Second thing I would say, which I like, is I think embracing the change. So embracing the change, how the life kind of changed. Both the key characters, I think Geet and Aditya, I think I remember. So how their life transformed, and that is also very important in the professional life as well. It will not stay always, the same. So embrace the change, embrace new things. And the third and the last thing I would say is again kind of a little bit similar to the change, but don't plan too much. I think, have a short-term planning, and it has also become so much relevant for a corporate world that we call it VUCA, right? Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So I think that's also something. You remember the character of Geet, after the
Yeah.
interview, completely changed. So I think there is no point in planning for the long term and have a very short term view and then keep adjusting, be agile. I think that's the way I would define.
So it's an amazing conversation with you, Pulkit, and you have been very successful. So we want to thank people in your life, who have made Pulkit so successful. So you are sitting in front of us, and you've inspired so many people. So who are those individuals you would like to take their name?
Thank you. I don't know if I'm really uh, successful, but I would say I think I'm content. I'm yeah, also proud of myself, where I am. But I won't say there are many, many more successful and better leaders than me. Thanks for that. I would say, nice compliment. But by the way, I've never thought about it. So this is also going to be a little bit emotional question, and I mean it because I never thought of reflecting on actually expressing it this way. So the
Mm,
first one, of course, my grandmom.
mm,
She was the one who gave me a direction, to actually do C. As I said, I was an accidental
mm,
chartered accountant. The second one, and I think in the order the people influenced me. So second one, my of course parents. So they also
mm,
sacrificed, for my education because I didn't live with them. I lived with my grandmom and my uncle and
mm,
aunt. So these are the second sets of people uh, who contributed a lot. And third, I would say Mr. Sushil Agarwal, who is who's Aditya Birla Group's
yeah.
CFO, and for me also was an inspiration. And I think he also guided me during my career journey, the initial career journey. And last but not the least, of course, my wife and my kids. So I think yeah, so many people, and I don't think you can you know figure out only one person in your life who has made yourself successful. So yeah, host of them, and I'm grateful. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure, thanks, Pulkit. So, thank you so much to your grandmom, and thank you so much to your parents for helping in your journey. And thank you to Sushil Agarwal, sir, for helping you in your journey. And thanks so much to your wife and kids. I hope they will view it, and my heartfelt thanks to them as well. So, thank you so much, Pulkit, for being with us. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I hope you also have enjoyed. And for all our viewers and listeners, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you will have something interesting to take away from this. And I wish you have a great day, evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone.